Just before we start, I would just, request anyone who has not joined the mailing list of JSI, you can do that. I will share the link, and you can also go to JapaneseStudiesIndia.home.blog, and you will also find instructions on how to join the mailing list. And this workshop series is a part of the initiative of Japanese Studies India, where we are trying to initiate more discussions across universities. Of course, universities have their own ecosystems, but Japanese studies centers or departments in universities are so small and so marginalized. It probably makes sense to have cross-university interactions to have better engaging research. So the purpose of this workshop series, the primary purpose would probably be to get quality feedback for your research, and it is also to foster a feeling of fraternity within the Japanese studies community in India, and not just in India. Of course, we have Dr. Carmen as the discussion today, so we will hopefully also interact with people from outside India, including Japan, and also countries in Europe, America, Southeast Asia, and so on. Of course, these workshops are sort of semi-formal workshops. You won't get a certificate for it. You won't get any API points for it. But hopefully you'll get quality feedback, and that, I think, is the most important. So I would also appeal to all probably present PhD students or people who have just finished PhD like he has, to present your research in this series. Just write an email to me, and we can talk about how to go about it. Okay, so let's go to the topic today is investigation of the current trend of childbirth rituals and customs practice in the urban area of contemporary Japan, a case study of Nagoya City. The speaker today is Dr. Kiya Mukherjee. You can see her on your screen. She has just finished her PhD from Nagoya University a couple of months back, and she finished a PhD in Humanities from the Department of Cultural Anthropology, Graduate School of Humanities in Nagoya University. She completed her MA and MPhil at Jawaharlal Nehru University and was awarded the Japanese Government Scholarship from 2016 to 2021 for conducting her doctoral research in Japan. She also taught Japanese history and culture at Center for Japanese Studies in JNU as a guest faculty, and also later worked as a teaching assistant at Nagoya University. Her research interests include childbirth rituals, customs, and folk beliefs in contemporary Japan. Her research methodology is based on questionnaires, interview studies, interview surveys, participant observation, and extensive field work. As the discussant today, we have Dr. Carmen Tamas, who is a Romanian anthropologist, currently in charge of the Japanese language and culture program at the University of Hyogo. After obtaining her PhD from Osaka University in 2009, she has been teaching Japanese mythology and anthropology at Osaka University, Kobe University, and Doshisha University. Her most recent publications include a volume on Japanese rituals and their ties with the local communities, ritual practices and daily rituals, glimpses into the world of mastery, as well as edited volumes such as Beliefs, Ritual Practices, and Celebrations in Kansai, and Forms of the Body in Contemporary Japanese Society, Literature, and Culture. I hope that it will be a very, I'm sure it will be a very fruitful discussion, and it will be refreshing to, in this environment of so many deaths around, it will be interesting to listen about something that is the opposite of death, that is birth. And so I will just request here to proceed with her presentation for around 40 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 second.
Sorry, maybe more people are used to Zoom, but
Yeah,
this is
yeah. I'm also used to Zoom and Teams.
yeah.
First time I'm using Google Meet.
Okay. We in our university have this Google Meet. Uh, you have the present now button
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
bottom right. Yeah.
So, and then, one second.
Yeah, great. We can see your screen.
Are the slides visible?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Uh, should I start right now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Uh, Okay. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for coming to this workshop, Japanese Studies India workshop series. I would like to thank Tariq Sensei for giving me an opportunity to share and present my doctoral research at Japanese Studies India workshop series. And as Tariq Sensei introduced me, as you all know, my name is Zia Mukherjee. I have done my PhD from Nagoya University. So let's get started. Uh, Title of the talk today is Investigation of the Current Trend of Childbirth Rituals and Customs Practice in the Urban Area of Contemporary Japan, a case study of Nagoya City. Today I'm going to talk about purpose of this talk. Then I would like to talk about the introduction, some of the important keywords related to today's talk. Then Anzan Kigan related popular religious institution in Nagoya City and the reason for choosing Nagoya City as a case study. Then introduction of Nagoya City, the Nagoya City Child Rearing Support Center. Then research question, research methodology, results, final thoughts, conclusion, reference list, and the fieldwork photos I have taken during my fieldwork. Then I would like to talk about the purpose of this talk. I would like to share, first of all, the findings of my doctoral research project. Then I would like to explain the core meaning and the significance of several childbirth rituals such as Anzan Kigan and Haraobi Iwai and Satogairi Susan, and also the concept of Kegare-kan associated with childbirth process in Japan. Later on, I would like to describe how the rituals, this kind of childbirth rituals, are practiced at several religious institutions located in the Nagoya city, such as Shiogama Shrine, Inu Shrine, Atsuta Shrine, as well as Koshoji Temple, from the perspective of the various Shinto and Buddhist priests. Also, I would like to examine the current state of Anzan Kigan Haraobi Iwai Satogairi Susan rituals, particularly from the perspective of Japanese pregnant women and young mothers who have already experienced the childbirth process in Japan. And finally, I would like to explain the transition and what are the changes that took place in childbirth rituals of urban area with the passage of time. Moving on to the next slide, introduction. Research on rituals and customs related to childbirth practices has been conducted actively in the field of Japanese folklore studies as well as cultural anthropology since 2000. As we all know, with the rapid modernization and the urbanization that took place in Japan, these kind of several traditional childbirth rituals and customs have gone through many drastic changes over the time, not only in the rural sector, also in the urban sector. Particularly the transition from childbirth delivery process from home to hospital, like Jitaku Susan to Byoin Susan, as well as the introduction of the advanced medical treatment in the gynecology from the influence of Europe and America, brought lots of changes in the traditional values and childbirth rituals and its folk beliefs. Several researches are already conducted to study how Anzan Kigan Haraobi and Umiyamairi rituals are practiced at the specific Shinto shrine or a specific Buddhist temple in a specific locality or city in Japan. But no research or case study has been done now how these rituals are actually practiced at the religious institution, as I mentioned, like Shiogama Shrine, Inu Shrine, and Koshoji and also the Atsuta Jingu in the urban area of Nagoya city from the perspective of the various Shinto or Buddhist priests. Besides that, until now, few research has been done to investigate thoroughly the current state of childbirth rituals and its customs from the perspective of Japanese pregnant women and young mothers. Moving on to the next slide, I would like to introduce some of the important keywords such as Anzan Kigan. What does Anzan Kigan mean? It is a prayer for safe delivery of a fetus. It usually takes place in the 5th month of pregnancy. Then Haraobi Iwai, a piece of cloth or belt is owned by a pregnant woman during the 5th month of pregnancy. Then Anzan no Orei Mairi is a Thanksgiving visit to the Shinto shrine or Buddhist temple in order to offer thanks to the Shinto kami or Buddhist figure after having the safe delivery. Then Anzan no Umamori, as we all know, the Umamori is a lucky charm. Anzan no Umamori in order to ensure the safe delivery of a fetus. Then Anzan no Ofuda, a paper kind of talisman, usually kept on the Butsudan or Kamidan of one's household for ensuring safe delivery. Osarashi, it is a traditional maternity sachet. Typically, it is white color. Why it is white? Because white color symbolizes the physical and the spiritual purity, and white color is also considered as the sacred color of the gods. And if you look in the Shinto rituals, since ancient time, white color has been given significant importance in the Shinto rituals. Moving on to Satogaeri Susan, it is a traditional custom of returning one's natal home for childbirth or childcare assistant after delivery. Then Susan no Kegarekan, a concept of pollution or dirtiness associated with the childbirth process. Inonohi, it is an auspicious day for performing childbirth rituals in Japan. Norito, as we all know, it is a Shinto rituals often offered by a priest on the behalf of the worshippers. Moving on to the next slide, I would like to introduce some of the Anzan Kigan related popular religious institution in Nagoya city. In Japan, as we all know, every locality has a specific Shinto shrines or Buddhist temple that are only dedicated as a power spot to ensure a safe delivery and healthy growth of a child. Similarly, in Nagoya also, there are several Shinto shrines and temples such as Shiogama Shrine located in Tenpaku border of Nagoya city, Inu Shrine in the Nishi ward of Nagoya city, Atsuta Shrine located in the Atsuta ward of Nagoya city, then Koshoji located in the Showa ward of Nagoya city. It is very close to my when I was in Nagoya, it was very close to my house also, Koshoji. The reason for choosing Nagoya city as my case study, based on the literature review, as I mentioned at the beginning, in the field of childbirth rituals, I have noticed that as a case study until now, Nagoya has not been chosen by the earlier researchers. And why Nagoya? Nagoya is considered as the oldest urbanized area in Japan, where history and the traditional culture and the family bond and the kinship, strong human relationship, and traditional values and ethos are vibrantly remaining in the city. In Nagoya, if we look the Nagoya city, we can observe that the rate of the extended family is quite high as compared to nuclear family. 2 or 3 generations of family members are living together in one household. Unlike Tokyo, where urbanization is steadily going on, but in Nagoya city, compared to Tokyo, when a woman becomes pregnant, she often has many relatives and family members around her for providing her to overcome the difficulties she faces during her pregnancy, and also to provide childcare assistance after delivery. In order to examine thoroughly the current state of childbirth rituals and customs of urban area, I have decided to pay attention only the case study of Nagoya city. Moving on to the next slide, introduction of Nagoya city. As we all know, that Nagoya is the 4th largest city in Japan, and it is also the capital of Aichi prefecture, and it is the largest city in the Chibu region of Japan, as you can see from the map also. And the population is around 23 lakhs, and the area of Nagoya city is around 326.4 kilometers square. And the symbol of Nagoya city is the Nagoya Castle. And later, I would like to talk about the Nagoya city is divided into the 16 wards. As you can see from this map, Atsuta word, Naka word, and Higashi word. Several words also has Nagoya City Child Caring Support Center. Now I'm going to talk about the purpose of this Nagoya City Child Rearing Support Center, where I have collected most of my data, and why it is important, and how it is playing an important role in the life of a Japanese woman also. Like the purpose of this local child rearing support center is to provide a safe environment place for parent-child interaction, to provide an assistance regarding the child rearing, and to provide valuable information, and to hold various informative seminars on child rearing in order to reduce the anxiety and the burden of the child rearing process to the young parents, particularly living in that local area. This kind of child rearing support center are built to provide, as I mentioned, as a safe environment place where children aged from 0 to 3 and their parents can easily gather at any time of the day and interact with each other, and spend some quality time with each other. And this kind of child rearing centers are aimed to improve also the child rearing process of the local community. Regardless of nationality, anyone can access this facility at free of cost. And usually the nursery school and the kindergarten and private house and the vacant stores in that particular locality are used to offer this kind of facilities. As you can see from this image also, this is the Medaka Hiroba, where I have also conducted my field work, and lots of toys are there also. Naga's Chiki Kosodate Shien Kyoten. By visiting this kind of child rearing support center, newly become parents who face difficulties for raising children not only gain confidence in their new role as a parent, but they can easily make new friends with other parents through interaction. And also often specialized lecturer or nutritionist comes to this place to give a special lecture on how to play with newborn at house, and how to give a massage to the newborn, and how to make a strong bond parent-child oyako kanke while touching the baby's body. Very informative informations can be gathered from this Nagoya City Child Rearing Support Centers. Moving on to the next slide, to a research question, today I'm going to address what are the childbirth rituals and practiced before and after delivery in Japan, and why are the religious institutions such as like Shiogama Shrine, Inu Shrine, Atsuta Shrine, and Koshoji Temple in Nagoya City closely associated with Anzan Kigan? Why do Japanese pregnant women and young mothers visit religious institutions, on particularly Inu no Hi, for performing Anzan Kigan? And how are the rituals like Anzan Kigan, Haraobi, Anzan no Orimairi observed at several Shinto shrine and temples in Nagoya City? And when do the Japanese women go to their natal home for performing Satogaeri Susan ritual? And why do the Japanese women feel the necessity to perform Satogaeri Susan ritual? And from where they do gather this kind of information about Anzan Kigan and other rituals also? And why do the Japanese women prefer to use modern types of maternity belt rather than choosing the traditional osarashi? And finally, how do the Japanese women view the concept of kegare-kan related to the childbirth process? Moving on to the next slide, I would like to talk about the research methodology I have used in my research. And both quantitative and qualitative methods are used in my research. And I have conducted face-to-face interviews, first to the Shinto priest of Shiogama Shrine, Inu Shrine, and Atsuta Shrine, and the Buddhist priest of the Koshoji Temple. Then I have conducted interviews to the staffs at the reception desk of each shrine and temple, and then conducted questionnaire surveys to the pregnant women who visited the Shiogama Shrine and Koshoji Temple on the auspicious day of Inu no Hi for performing Anzan Kigan ritual. After that, I have conducted questionnaire surveys to the young mothers currently living in Nagoya City during their visit to the several Nagoya City Child Rearing Support Center, and later on to gather more specific information and the reason for doing such kind of rituals. Then I have conducted face-to-face interviews to the other Japanese mothers currently living in Nagoya City during their visit to the several Nagoya City Child Rearing Support Center. Moving on to the next slide, now I'm going to show you some of the results of my research. First, I would like to talk about the origin of Shiogama Shrine in Nagoya city and how it is related to Anzan Kigan. Shiogama Shrine of Nagoya city, it is the branch of Shiogama Shrine, main Shiogama Shrine of Miyagi Prefecture located in the Tohoku region. And this shrine was built by the chief priest Mr. Yamada during 1844 to 1848. And due to the inconvenience of transportation system during that time, earlier it was quite difficult for the pregnant woman to have a direct access or to visit Ise Jingu in Mie Prefecture or the main Shiogama shrine in Miyagi Prefecture in order to receive the prayers for safe delivery. So one of the priests of the Shiogama shrine, chief priest Mr. Yamada, decided to bring the soul of the Shiotsuji Ojino Kami from Miyagi Prefecture to Nagoya city. And as a guardian deity of childbirth and the protector of children, gradually the Shiotsuji Ojino Kami has gathered immense faith from the worshippers. And it is said that the first time for the Anzan Kigan was offered to the Shiotsuchi Ojino Kami after the World War II. It was not from the beginning of its foundation. With the changing time, interestingly, compared to other prayers, nowadays the shrine has become the popular choice among the worshipper who wish to perform Anzan Kigan ritual at Shiogama Shrine. Moving on to the next slide, I'm going to talk about the Anzan Kigan ritual and Haraobi ritual, how these rituals are practiced at Shiogama Shrine. As I mentioned earlier, Inuno-hi has long been regarded as an auspicious day for performing childbirth rituals in Japan. So therefore, even today also, most of the worshippers prefer to choose Inuno-hi to perform Anzan Kigan and also the purification of the Haraobi Iwai ritual. It has been said that for a long time, if the worshipper received the purification of Haraobi on that particular day and wear that belt on that specific day, then they can have easy and safe delivery, just like an animal dog, Inuno Yoni. In order to receive the prayer for safe delivery, the pregnant woman's name, address, as well as the expected delivery date of the child all have to be written on the application form given to the worshipper at the reception desk, specially made for the Anzan Kigan ritual. At the time of prayer, usually one or either two priests enter the main hall along with the worshipper, read out the address and the name of the pregnant woman and expected delivery date of the fetus. Usually it takes around 15 to 20 minutes per person, the prayer. And in order to receive the Anzan Kigan, if there are lots of worshippers, like particularly the Inuno-hi, in that case, sometimes the prayer may exceed also 1 hour also. In that case, not individual prayer. In that case, it usually the group prayer takes place. Along with the traditional Haraobi belt from the Shiogama shrine, nowadays 2 types of modern style maternity belts are given to the worshippers. And besides that, Anzan no Omamori and Anzan no Ofuda and Anzan no Oshio, these 3 things are given as a set to the worshipper for ensuring the safe delivery and to overcome any kind of misfortune. Moving on to the next slide. Now I'm going to talk about the origin of Inu Shrine and Anzan Kigan. Inu Shrine was built in 673 and 3 deities are mainly enshrined at Inu Shrine from its foundation. Among them, the goddess Inu Hime Kami is believed to have the sacred power to bestow childbirth and also the safe delivery and the healthy growth of the babies. The prayers for safe delivery was not made from the beginning of its foundation, but the prayer for safe delivery was first offered around 1955 according to the chief priest. Compared to the other prayers that take place at Inu Shrine, interestingly nowadays the number of the worshippers who seek the blessings from Inu Hime Kami for safe delivery are increasing day by day as compared to other prayers. Moving on to the next slide, along with the praise, the worshippers, as I mentioned, like after filling all the necessary information on the application form, the worshipper enters the main prayer hall to receive the prayer. If it is weekdays, then it takes about 15 to 20 minutes per person. Many pregnant women here also to prefer to visit this shrine, particularly on Inunuhi, and they believe that if they perform on that day, they can give birth to a strong child as like a dog by worshipping the symbolic stone statue of dog. In Inu, I would like to mention here that in Inu shrine there is a symbolic stone statue of a dog, and it is believed that after the prayer, if the worshippers touches the belly of a dog, then and she will be blessed with a healthy baby and safe delivery also. And later I will show you the image of that dog also. Nowadays, for the purification of the Haraobi belt, most of the worshippers usually prefer to bring the various types of colorful modern style designed maternity bells according to their choice and convenience, rather than bringing the traditional Haraobi. Considering the convenience of the pregnant woman, the Innu Shrine has decided not to give the traditional Haraobi to its worshippers after the Anzan Kigan. So as a result, only modern style maternity belt is given to the worshippers from the Innu Shrine. Moving on to the next slide, origin of the Atsuta Shrine and the Anzan Kigan. Since ancient time, Atsuta Jingu has been considered as a popular Shinto shrine in Japan. The shrine is believed to have been established during the reign of the Emperor Keiko, and also the shrine is dedicated to the garden deity of Atsutano Okami. And apart from Atsutana Okami, 5 other gods are enshrined at Atsuta Jingu. And due to the lack of historical evidence or materials, when the prayers for safe delivery like Anzan Kigan was offered to the Atsuta Jingu was not confirmed yet. Nowadays, Anzan Kigan takes place at Kagura Den, right next to the main shrine of the Atsuta Jingu. Now I'm going to talk about the Anzan Kigan and the Haraobi rituals at Atsuta Shrine. In Atsuta Jingu, in the precincts of Atsuta Shrine, there is a small shrine named Kusunomi Maisha, and this shrine is like without a roof. There are 2 pillars in that area that symbolize the Izanagi no Mikoto and Izanami no Mikoto. These couple gods are believed to ensure the easy and safe delivery to the pregnant woman and to bestow the child to the childless couples. And there is only one tree like Kusunoki, which is believed to have the soul of the Izanagi no Mikoto and Izanami no Mikoto. So after the prayer is over at the Kagura Den, the worshippers customarily visit the Kusunomi Maisha in order to receive the blessings from the Izanagi no Mikoto and Izanami no Mikoto for having a safe delivery. After the prayer is over, from the Atsuta Shrine, only the traditional Haraobi, white colored traditional Haraobi, is given to the worshipper to maintain the ancient tradition. Moving on to the next slide, origin of Koshoji temple and Anzan Kigan. Koshoji is a Buddhist temple of Shingon sect, and it was founded around 1686 by the monk Tensui. And Koshoji temple is believed to have a deep historical connection to the Owari Tokugawa family, like one of the branches of the Tokugawa clan in the Edo period. Earlier, this temple was only the prayer place for the Owari Tokugawa family. Daizuigu Mio has the sacred power, is believed to have a sacred power to ensure the easy and safe delivery of a fetus. According to the priest Mr. Makino, in the Edo period, based on the request came from the members of the Owari Tokugawa family, for the first time the prayer for safe delivery was made to Daizuigu Mio. When this temple was opened to the public, later on the common people started to offer Anzan Kigan to Daizuigu Mio Osama. Moving on to the next slide, Anzan Kigan and Haraobi rituals at Koshoji temple. There are two types of prayers in that take place at Koshoji temple, individual and group prayers for safe delivery. During the group prayer, special havan is made with chanting mantra for easy and safe delivery. Unlike other religious institution, as I mentioned earlier, like Shiogama Shrine or Inu Shrine and Asuta Jingu, here worshippers are bound to make a reservation for prayers over the prayers over the telephone before visiting the temple, and worshippers are required to inform the receptionist in advance if they wish for individual prayer or they wish for group prayers. In that, according to the prayer, the priest will prepare in that way. Currently, many worshippers who come to the Koshoji temple for conducting the Anzan Kigan ritual are between the ages of 30 and 40. Like other shrines, Anzan Kigan here also takes place every day at Koshoji, but most of the pregnant women prefer to visit on that auspicious day in Unohi. Therefore, they prefer to visit this temple also on that particular day. According to the priest, Mr. Makino, most of the worshippers deeply believe that if they worship on that day, then they can receive more blessing from the Daizui Gumyo, and they can also have the safe delivery just like an animal dog, as I mentioned earlier. Like Atsuta Shrine, here also only the traditional white color haraobi is given to the worshippers after Anzan Kigon. Moving on to the next slide, I would like to show you the results from the perspective of the Japanese woman. The time for performing the Anzan Kigon ritual, according to the respondents, the time for performing Anzan Kigon ritual, 8% performed during the third month, and 86% performed during the fifth month, and 2% performed during the seventh month, and 4% performed answered others. In others, like some of the 9 months and such kind of fourth months, these kinds of answers are included. From this result, it became clear that most of the pregnant women still prefer to perform Anzan Kigan ritual during the fifth month of pregnancy rather than choosing third month or seventh month. Moving on to the next slide, Anzan Kigan rituals from the perspective of Japanese women. Importance of performing Anzan Kigan ritual. The degree of importance for performing Anzan Kigan ritual. According to the respondents, very much important, 57%, and 27% said that important because it is a ritual, and 15% said that little bit important, and 1% only said that not at all important. Many women during pregnancy think that it is important to pray for a safe delivery before the baby is born. Because since ancient time, customarily Anzan Kigan has been continuing as a traditional childbirth custom by visiting the nearest Shinto shrines or Buddhist temples, and by performing Anzan Kigan ritual, it is believed that they can also reduce the stress and anxiety about giving childbirth. Moving on to the next slide, a haraobi ritual from the perspective of Japanese women, and what types of belt is worn by Japanese women during pregnancy. When I asked this question, according to the respondents, based on the result, 9% said that they use traditional osarashi, and 31% said that they used corset type haraobi, it's modern type, and 5% said that they use the maternity type haraobi, and 15 percentage replied others. In others also there are other types of haraobi, modern style haraobi answers are included also. Based on this result, nowadays pregnant women don't prefer to wear traditional haraobi. It is because it is not easy to use in everyday life, and they prefer to choose the favorite haraobi and favorite designed haraobi from a wide variety of modern style belts. According to the respondents, when I asked the reason for choosing the modern style haraobi belt, such as it is easy to wear and traditional osarashi is difficult to tie, so I wanted to use a simple one. And if the haraobi is a belt type, then it properly supports the pelvis. This kind of answers are given by the participants. Moving on to the next slide, Haraobi ritual from the perspective of Japanese women. From whom did, when I asked, from whom did you receive the Haraobi for tightening your belly during pregnancy? According to the respondents, they received from their mothers around 42%, and from their mother-in-law 8%, and they purchased it by themselves around 47%, and others 3%. Most of the women earlier used to receive the Haraobi belt from their paternal house as a traditional custom, but nowadays most of the women either directly buy it from the online shopping or the departmental store, or they receive it from the religious institution like Shinto shrine and Buddhist temple during their visit for Anzan Kigan ritual. Moving on to the next slide, Satogairi Susan ritual from the perspective of Japanese women. According to the respondents, 69% is returned to their natal home for performing the ritual of Satogairi Susan before or after delivery. 31% answered that they didn't have any kind of experience of returning to their natal homes. Even if they didn't have such kind of experience of performing Satogairi Susan ritual, interestingly, they told me that they called their mothers to come and stay with them at their own residence so they can get help from their parents for childcare. The reason for returning to one's natal home, such as I wanted to get support from my parents, I wanted to get various help from my parents. Luckily, there was an environment around me that I could rely on, and I wanted to rely on my mother because it was my first child. After childbirth, I wanted to restore my physical strength, and it was my first childbirth. There were too many uncertain things that I wanted to know from my mother. They replied in that way. Moving on to the next slide, the concept of Kegare Khan from the perspective of Japanese women. How do the Japanese women view the concept of Kegare Khan related to childbirth process? According to the respondents who participated in the interview survey, 1% answered that I think the childbirth process is associated with Kegare Khan, and 53 people answered that simply I don't think, and 7 people answered that I don't think it at all. Most interestingly, similar kind of result or trend is observed even through the questionnaire service I have conducted. According to the respondents who don't consider childbirth process as a concept of Kegarekan or the dirtiness, or in that way, they believe that it is a normal to have bleeding after childbirth, and it is natural mechanism of the body, and it is because people around me have never told me that bleeding associated with childbirth is dirty thing. It is because I don't see bleeding as such a dirty thing. I don't know why it is considered to be dirty. In that way, they replied me. Moving on to the next slide, childbirth rituals related to the information from the perspective of Japanese women. According to the respondent, detailed information about the ritual of Anzan Kegan. When I asked them, 45% gathered the detailed information of Anzan Kegan ritual from their mothers, 8% is gathered from their mother-in-laws, 11% is gathered from their friends, 27% is gathered from the internet, and 1% is gathered from the hospital, and the rest of the 8% is gathered from various sources such as maternity magazine, maternity related pamphlet, mobile apps, and other various website. From this result, we can say that it can be said nowadays most of the women still rely on their mothers to get information about the childbirth rituals such as Anzan Kigan. However, due to an easy access to the internet site, and it is also it can be observed that the internet sites and the maternity magazines both play an important role in the life of a Japanese pregnant woman for providing valuable information regarding childbirth rituals. Then I would like to move on to the next slide. So final thoughts. In the case of Shiogama, as I mentioned, Shiogama Shrine, Atsuta Shrine, and Inu Shrine, and Koshoji Temple, Anzan Kigan was not offered from its foundation. It is believed that after the World War II, when the number of the childbirth suddenly increased in various areas in Japan, suddenly there was a need among the people to seek a prayer place where they can perform Anzan Kigan for ensuring safe delivery. Unlike Shiogama Shrine, and Inu Shrine to maintain the previous age-old tradition. Only Atsuta Shrine and Koshoji Temple do not offer any kind of fashionable modern types of colorful haraobi bell to the worshippers. Even today also, in order to overcome the anxiety of the first childbirth or to get the child care support or the assistance from their parents, Japanese women still prefer to perform the Satogairi Susan ritual before or after delivery. And the concept of Kegare Khan associated with childbirth almost has been disappeared from Japan, it can be said. And finally, to conclude, I would like to say that despite the influence of urbanization, even the tendency of childbirth that taking place at hospital most commonly from home, even today, as like earlier days, as a natural tendency, when a woman becomes pregnant, she wishes for a safe delivery of a fetus. So the custom of visiting Shinto shrines or temples on Inuno-hi for performing Anzan-kigan ritual and the purification of the Haraobi ritual are still continuing as a traditional custom. Nowadays, for performing the Anzan-kigan ritual, interestingly, most of the worshippers do not prefer to visit their local Shinto shrine or the local Buddhist temple where the guardian deity or Ujigami is enshrined, because as the information they gathered from the maternity magazine or the internet source, they prefer to choose the popular religious institution for performing the Anzan-kigan ritual. Like if it is Nagoya, then choose Shiogama Shrine. If it is Tokyo, then choose Suiten-gu. There is a Suiten-gu Shrine. Several Shinto shrines and specific temples. So the custom of tightening the maternity belt on the belly in the 5th month of pregnancy is still continuing as a traditional custom, but the design and the color of the bells have gone through many changes as compared to previous time. And due to the rapid influence of media, nowadays Japanese women not only rely on the internet sites for getting the information about the, like choosing the popular religious institution for Anzan Kigan, for doing Anzan Kigan, and but also they prefer to gather detailed information about the meaning, Inuno-hi, what does Inuno-hi mean, and why they should perform on that day, and the ritual, what are the rituals before and after the childbirth, and this kind of detailed information they gather from the internet source. So in this way, I have to say in this way. So now moving on to the next slide, reference list. And now I'd like to show you some of the photos I have taken during my field work. And the main hall of the Shiogama Shinto Shrine, you can see in the left image, and the right image, it is a traditional haraobi. It is also known as Iwata obi. And the significant animals, designs, animal shapes are like tortoise and tsuru. And these are the very considered to be very auspicious. So these are printed also. And bell type haraobi named Inori. The name Inori, it was given by the Shinto priest of the Shiogama shrine. And the right image is Haramaki type haraobi named Negai. The name Negai also was given by the Shinto priest. Like from Kigan, they took the word. When I asked why Inori and why Negai, they told me that from the Kigan, the worshippers are coming for Anzan Kigan prayer. So from the Kigan word, they took the ki and the gun. In that way, they made that Inori and Negai name. Then I would like to show you the photo from the Shiogama shrine, Anzan no Oshio and Anzan no Omamori. This one, the traditional Anzan no Omamori, and the Anzan no Ofuda. These are given to the worshipper. Why salt? The salt is associated with the deity of the Shiotsuchi Oji no Kami, and it is believed that to have easy and safe delivery after drinking the auspicious salt with water after the Anzan Kigan. Keeping an Anzan no Ofuda from Shiogama shrine, Shiotsuchi Oji no Kami, the guardian deity, will always protect the pregnant woman from any kind of misfortune. Moving on to the next slide, fieldwork photos of Inu Shrine. The left one is the entrance of the Inu Shrine, and the right one is the traditional Anzana Umamori is the red one, and the modern types of Anzana Umamori like the blue one, yellow one, and the pink one. Very cute. So they told me that kawaii rashi design is much more like preferred by the young Japanese women. They don't choose the traditional one. They love to choose the cute one. And ofuda date like stand for keeping the ofuda, and this one the ofuda along with the ofuda. And the maternity belt, the modern style maternity belt is wrapped in that way. The left image from given from the Inu Shrine, and the right image is the application form like Anzan Kigan no Moshi Komisho. So after filling all the necessary information, they can enter to the prayer hall. And you can see like the left one, the main prayer hall, and the symbolic stone statue that I have mentioned. This statue is very symbolic. And after the prayer is over at the main hall, the worshippers come to the statue and pray to the stone statue. And the right one is the wooden prayer votive tablet with the wishes for easy and safe delivery. And the fieldwork photos of Atsuta Shrine. And the left one is the main shrine of the Atsuta Jingu. And the right one is the prayer hall, the Kagura Den, where Anzan Kigan and the other prayers often take place at Kagura Den. Moving on to the next slide, the left one, application form for Anzan Kigan. Anzan Kigan Moshikomisho. The middle one is the traditional Haraobi Osarashi, like Atsuta Jingu Anzan Haraobi, and the traditional Anzan Umamori is given from the Atsuta Shrine. Moving on to the next slide, as I mentioned that in Atsuta Jingu, there is a small shrine, there is no roof like Kusunomi Maisha. You can see the left one. The Kusunomi Maisha, only 2 pillars are there that symbolizes Izanagi no Mikoto and Izanami no Mikoto. And the right one, you can see the Torii-shaped prayer votive with the wishes for safe delivery offered by the worshippers. Moving on to the next slide, the notice board at the Kusunomi Maisha. Here is written the Kusunomi Maisha, like the Izanagi and Izanami, and why it is significant in that way. It's written in details. Moving on to the next slide, eastern gate of the Koshoji temple, and the right image is the Nishiyama Honden, the main prayer hall, where Daizui Go Myo is enshrined. And in the left image, you can see that the priest, Mr. Makino is offering prayer to Daizui Myo, not the Anzan Kigan. Like something different prayer he was offering at that time when I was there at that time. So the traditional Anzan Umamori, the right image, and traditional white colored Haraobi Osarashi, like given from the Koshoji temple. That's all. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks a lot, Hia. That was really, really interesting. And it's also very, Hia is one of those, representative of the new breed of Japanese studies scholars from India who are not only going to Japan to do their PhDs, but also exploring newer fields. There are very few Indian scholars of cultural anthropology who study the cultural anthropology of Japan, and Hia is one of them. So it is all very, very interesting for all of us. Thank you, Hia, for agreeing to present here, and also making a presentation in quite a quick time. Actually, there was not much time since the time I asked her to do this. I should also thank Dr. Carmen, but that would be after she comments on the presentation by Tia. Please, Dr. Kamran.
Thank you very much. I will try to connect and share. Okay, I'm sharing my entire screen. Okay, and do you see slides? Because I have no idea what is it that you see.
Yes.
Yes, we can see. Yes.
Okay. I have no idea how to do this so that I see my slides as well. Okay, it's going to be just my slides, not the screen. Okay. Okay, so at the moment you can see the slides, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to continue like this without seeing anybody. So first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I am honored, and it was a true pleasure to read some of Dr. Hia Mukherjee's papers and also to look at the slides for the presentation. I will start, so first of all, because considering the topic that she chose for her PhD, for her doctoral dissertation, I think this is a good moment for us to remember the rites of passage, because this is what she addresses. It's a rite of passage, and a book that was initially published in 1908, translated into English in 1960, and became a huge success despite its various issues with colonization and, well, various types of discrimination. However, the rites of passage, the categories that were created more than 100 years ago, are still relevant in contemporary society. And Arnold van Gennep gives three major categories when it comes to the rites of passage: the ceremonies that accompany the passage from one situation to another, from one cosmic, this refers to the ritual state, to another stage, or from a social world to another social world. And he identifies three types: the rites of separation connected to funerals, the transition rites, I will get back to them in a moment, and rites of integration related to marriage rites. And it is not surprising that he refers in detail to the transition rites, those that include rituals connected to pregnancy, our topic today, because these transition rites are fairly significant as they indicate and as they are related to the introduction of a new life into our own universe. And just a little bit, I myself have done some research on children's rights and children's rites of passage. I have not done excessive research on childbirth rights. That is why I was very excited to read this new and innovative research. So I only have a photo of a baby at his Mia Mairi. But I'm going to refer to a reinterpretation of the rites of passage done by Catherine Bell, and she is a researcher connected that does ritual studies, and she's very, very theoretical. And she reinterprets these rites. She goes back to what Van Gennep created 100 years ago, and she also focuses on the rites connected to biological changes like parturition. So getting pregnant and getting ready to give birth. Another important thing that she mentions here is that birth rites are not necessarily celebrated when a child emerges from the mother's body, and many initiation rites do not neatly coincide with the hormonal changes that usher in fertility in young adulthood. Why this is important? Because as Dr. Mukherjee referred to this, the rites that are performed are not done always at the same time. So the mothers can choose. Of course, the birth, that's not something that you can definitely choose. Of course, if it's not a natural birth, if it's a C-section, you can still make a little bit of a choice, but not much leeway there. So you cannot choose what happens to your body, but you can make a choice when to perform certain rites. And these are the rites that connect you to your society. Another interesting point that I noticed here is the research done at the Center for Mothers and Children, because that becomes, in our urbanized society, the marketplace, the place or the river where the women would go to wash clothes, meet, and talk to each other about things that they needed to know, things that were necessary. I do apologize for making this a theoretical introduction. I am sure that all of you are more or less familiar with these concepts, but I think they need to be reiterated when we talk about something as important as pregnancy, because it's something that will never change in the human society, and it also never change in the animal world as well. It's something that we need in order to continue existing as humans. And I'm going to refer from now on to the thesis and the presentation in question. One very important point that I would like to emphasize here is field work. Obviously, there has been extensive field work done, and it has been done following all the rules and all the written and unwritten rules of field work and the information. So I haven't read the entire dissertation, but obviously from the information that was presented today and the information that I had access to, the data has been thoroughly analyzed, and the very important part, so the author refers to the important aspects of these rituals. She refers to the ritual part and the connection to religious practices, and she also refers to society and to the connection between the community and the women involved in this research. I think this research is very important because it defines the relationship between ritual custom and medical practices. Childbirth rituals were very common. So getting an obi to prevent losing your baby, or to prevent a miscarriage, getting an obi to make sure that you have a safe and easy birth. We have to remember how dangerous giving birth used to be in the old times, was a magical practice. In some eras, that was the only tool available to pregnant women. But in contemporary times, medical practices, so the medicine is quite advanced, and we no longer need to rely so much on magic. We have other tools at our disposal. Japanese society has declared itself, and it has been seen from the outside, as a non-religious society. Many times those questionnaires where the Japanese declare themselves both Shinto, Buddhist, and Christian are brought to attention. In my opinion, they're not very well done, but that is an entirely different thing. But Japan has not been seen in the world outside Japan as being overly religious. And the Japanese themselves say, oh, but I don't believe, or I have no belief, or I have no religion. Yet these customs persist. Despite the medical advancements, despite the declarations of not being religious, these rituals persist, and it is important to look into them and see why this phenomenon occurs. For me, another interesting point was the selection of fieldwork site. And we did get an explanation, and it is a very good explanation, one that I completely agree with. But on the other hand, as an anthropologist, I also like the personal feeling. So why did I start doing research in a certain place? I just happened to hear the author saying that, yes, I did research in this place that you recommended. So sometimes it is interesting to do the anthropology of anthropology. How does a certain researcher get into a certain place? Is Nagoya relevant for this particular type of research? Yes, by all means. Again, while reading this paper, I was thinking of the other shrines present in Nagoya, one of them being Tagata Shrine, that is focused on fertility rituals. This is where men and women go in order to get children, so to be able to procreate. So there are a lot of such elements present in the area. So Nagoya is a very good fieldwork site. But on the other hand, it may be that it was accessible. The author was doing her PhD in the area, and it was more convenient to do fieldwork there. So this is not criticism. I'm just saying that personally, I also like the history beyond and behind a certain research. I myself have done 2 lines of research that were completely accidental. I happened to be there. I saw that as a potential research topic, and I just took it. And it is quite pleasant for myself as a person to start my papers or my presentations by telling that as an anecdote. Now, to refer to the research questions, I would like to refer to question number 6. It was there on the slide. Why do the Japanese women feel the necessity to perform the Satogaeri Shusan ritual? And here I would like to address something that Joy Hendry, the famous British anthropologist, used to say, that anthropology is a way of translating culture in terms that are intelligible to members of your own culture. We are not talking here about translating language, but about translating culture, explaining a certain phenomenon to people from another culture that might have difficulty understanding this. I will go back to this ritual because personally it was something that has intrigued me. I have an anecdote connected to this. Some friends of ours, he unfortunately got a very aggressive type of cancer. He was very sick. His wife was about to give birth. She gave birth and she immediately went back to her parents' house, which is in Nara, the couple living in Osaka. So she did perform the Satogaeri Shusan ritual, leaving her very sick husband alone at home. And for me, that was very hard to understand. I come from a Romanian culture and we do not have anything similar to this. Of course, there is a support network, mothers-in-law, other types of female relatives will come to help the woman who has just given birth, but the woman does not go back to her family home. So I think this is a question that deserves analysis and deserves to be explained in more detail. I really like, because I myself do research on shrines and matsuri, the festivals connected to rituals. I really enjoyed the analysis of the shrines and temples that were connected to these specific prayers. I do not know if Dr. Mukherjee refers to this in her dissertation, but I think one interesting topic would be to discuss how do certain shrines or certain temples evolve into centers for specific prayers and rituals. So what makes them special? Of course, they do have a story. All shrines, all temples have a story, and they manage somehow to connect to mythological origins if they can trace their origin. Of course, we're talking here about mythological history, not about real history. But if they can manage to trace their history all the way back to Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, that is absolutely perfect. However, this is the story that they tell the audience. We have to look into the socioeconomical mechanisms to see why certain sacred centers also become the centers for prayers and for rituals. So why do people decide to go there? Okay, now I am quoting from the presentation. The reason for choosing Inu no Hi for performing Anzan Kigan ritual at Inu Shrine is because the worshippers believe that they can receive the blessings from Inu Hime no Kami, which is associated with the king of dogs, so that they can give birth to a strong child like a dog. Here I have just a question. When I did research on this, I found the interpretation. So one of the stories that were being told about this association with the dogs, and I think it was somewhere in Yanagita Kunyo's works, was that the Day of the Dog and shrines that are associated with this are because dogs are supposed to have easy deliveries. And as such, women would pray to have a delivery as easy as a dog. So here, maybe the author can answer this. I haven't done extensive research into that. To refer back to the presentation, another interesting part here is that many pregnant women think that it is important to pray for a safe delivery before the baby is born, because since ancient times, customarily, it has been continuing to visit the Shinto shrines and Buddhist temples for performing Anzan Kigan ritual. And here, my question is, I actually have two questions related to this. what is the percentage? So do more people prefer Shinto shrines or do they prefer Buddhist temples? Do they go to both? If they go to one, do they have any reasoning behind that? And also the timing. So we did have the data, we were presented with the data on how women decide to go to the shrine, mostly during their 5th month. But what do the numbers say? So how do they make a certain choice? And why do they make that particular choice? I'm sorry. Now, about the Haraobi ritual, we were presented with an explanation and a description. Sorry, just a moment. Somebody has a microphone on and it's really distracting because I keep hearing papers being moved. So I would really appreciate it if the microphone could be turned off. Thank you so much. My apologies for the interruption.
Sorry about that. Please keep your microphones on mute.
I think somebody had the papers like really, really close to the microphone. Okay, so going back to the Haraobi, the rituals, we were presented with the changes related to the shape, the form, the model for this. And I was interested in the significance of this. So how do they see this change? Is it just an object that they need to have? Does it have any ritual value? And here I would like to refer a little bit to Ronald Grimes, who talks about the disposal of the ritual object. So what happens to the Haraobi once it's been used? I know the author mentioned that sometimes women used the obi received from their mothers, but what happens nowadays? Especially the old obi used to be more expensive. The new ones probably are not as expensive. So what happens to them after the child is born? And also when we talk about the Haraobi, again, because I haven't read the entire dissertation, I do apologize if I am referring to something that the author has already discussed, but we're talking about objects and we cannot dismiss and we cannot overlook the material culture perspective. What does it represent and what is the relationship between the objects that are used and the person who is using them or the group? Again, here referring a little bit to the Satogaeri Shusan ritual and what is it meaning? That would be my question. I don't think I got a clear answer from the presentation. So why does it still happen? What is its role in contemporary society? What are the mechanisms? So I do understand the practicality. It is absolutely normal from the perspective of modern and not so modern psychology that the pregnant woman would be anxious and would need to have support when when giving birth. So being with her mother would offer some kind of comfort. However, it is not necessarily the most usual custom, and the Japanese society tends to be quite influenced by the Western civilization in many perspectives. So I would like to hear a little bit more about the connection between Japanese tradition and modernized society, where the nuclear family tends to be the model at the time. Also about the kegare, we did get the individual perspective. So some women do believe that birth is polluting, some of them do not. But I would like to hear more of the author's perspective on that. So how does relate to the ritual perspectives? What is the connection in society? Are there any taboos? Are there any rules that they have to respect? Because personally, when it comes to interviewing people, I tend to agree with Michael Engelke, who said that, well, it's not the best method. Of course, interviews are very important, but when you ask for somebody's opinion, that doesn't tell you much because they might not know why they do something, or sometimes they might give you the answer they think you're looking for. And we do have very funny examples in anthropology where actually the people being interviewed had read books in advance and were answering according to the books, not according to their personal perspective. I'm not saying this is what happened here, because obviously we're talking about a very personal experience, but I would like to know more about the author's perspective on that. So what does Kegare mean in contemporary society? What is the connection? What is the role? What are the effects of not respecting the taboo? And in the end, I wanted to refer a little bit to the mythological perspectives, because I have visited Atsuta Shrine many times, and I did not pay attention to the small shrine dedicated to Izanagi and Izanami. But, and this is something that I do not know very well. Again, maybe the author can give us more information on that. According to Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, Izanami died during childbirth, and what I'm showing you here is a photo of the exit from the other world. It's a place in Japan very clearly indicated by street signs so that nobody would get lost going there. So Izanami dies giving birth to the fire god. She goes to the other world. Izanagi tries to bring her back and he fails. So there are very few shrines actually dedicated to Izanami. The shrines are dedicated to Izanagi. They are for prayers for marriage, for enmusubi, so for getting a good relationship, but they are not dedicated to the goddess who is supposed to be in the land of the dead. So that would be my final remark. Maybe the author has more information on this. Personally, since I also teach a class on mythology, I would be very, very interested to know more about this. That is all from me. Thank you very much for a very interesting research and for a very interesting presentation. And I look forward to the discussions as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carmen. Hia, would you
yes.
respond in brief?
Yes. I will thank you, Dr. Carmen, since I'm really grateful for having you in this workshop. Yes, I got lots of questions and lots of doubts from, so I would try my best to answer that question. Why do the Japanese people go to the specific Shinto shrine or Buddhist temple, and what are the percentage? If I'm not wrong, you asked me this question, like the specific Shinto shrine, like how do they choose, like going to visiting the Shinto shrine like Shiogama shrine or Inu shrine or Atsuta Jingu. But in case of performing the Omiya Mairi that takes place after the childbirth, 1.5 months later after the childbirth, they love to prefer to visit Atsuta Jingu for performing the Omiya Mairi rituals. But for Anzan Kigan, most of the respondents that I got answer from the participants, like interview survey, 61%, 60 from the 61 people, they told me that most of the people, in case of Nagoya, they went to the Shiogama shrine repeatedly, like Shiogama shrine, and also Inu shrine, 2 or 3 cases, and Kawahara Jinja located in the Nagoya city. But most of them answered like Shiogama shrine. Majority answered Shiogama shrine because they believe that Shiogama Jinja is somehow connected to Anzan Kigan, and also they heard from their mother or grandmother. Grandmother also performed Anzan Kigan during their time at Shiogama shrine. So grandmother and their mother also recommended their daughter to visit the Shiogama shrine, because you can also get the blessings from the Shiotsuchi Ojino Kami. I also got blessings, so similarly you will also get blessings from that specific Shinto shrine. But most of as the nuclear family is the rate of the nuclear family is high even in the Nagoya city also, like from Tenshoku, like transform from Tokyo to from Osaka to Nagoya, or no, Tokyo to due to the work, they are coming to the Nagoya city with their husband. At that case, they mostly don't go to prefer to back to their like Tokyo or the Jikka like Osaka. They prefer to do the rituals at the locality nearest temple or Shinto shrine. But in case of Koshoji, if I compare the Koshoji temple along with the other like Atsuta Shiogama shrine as well as shrine, the Koshoji temple, very few people answered me that they went to Koshoji temple for performing the Anzan Kigan ritual. But majority they performed at the Shiogama shrine. And the percentage, I have not analyzed that percentage, but I have analyzed how many people perform the child Anzan Kigan rituals. Most of the, if I need some time to refer that. In case of Hyogo Prefecture, they chose Nakayama Dera. In case of Hyogo Prefecture, they chose Nakayama Dera. And in case of Nagoya City, like Shiogama Jinja, and and Chikakuno, and also they prefer to choose the Shinto shrine nearby their paternal house also. If they go to for performing the Satogairi Susan ritual, if they are not with their husband, if they are with their parents, in that case they perform the Anzan Kigan ritual in Jikka nearby their paternal house, shrines. And the percentage when I asked the 116 people, that as I mentioned, the third month they choose 9 people, and the fifth month of pregnancy 100 people among 116, and the seventh month 2, and the others. And why fifth month? It is a stable stage of the pregnancy, and they feel that the child is in a stable situation in the in Onaka, so they prefer to, like, as compared to is in a, even lots of hormonal changes are there even during the pregnancy also, as you mentioned, even in your comments. So in that way they feel that they should perform in that way. And in that way also just and next is like, what is the percentage of the Buddhist temple? As I mentioned, the Buddhist temple is few rather than choosing the for Shinto shrine for performing Anzan Kigan ritual. And what is the percentage, and how do they make the certain choice? They make that certain choice based on the information they gather from their parents or from the internet source, or Hitono Kuchikomi, the people around nearby advise them, they recommend them. They would like to follow in that way. If the worshipper's friend had performed in that specific Shinto shrine, also she would like to do. If her sister-in-law perform in that way, when I asked why did you perform in that specific Shinto shrine, she told me that my sister-in-law also performed in during her pregnancy in that specific shrine, so she advised me to do in that specific Shinto shrine. In this way they choose to go to that specific Shinto shrine. About the significance of haraobi, in nowadays, like contemporary Japan, they don't know about the rituals of haraobi. They don't know at all. When I ask them haraobi rituals, do you know the significance of haraobi rituals in Japanese society? When I also told them that this rituals is not available in the other like Europe and America or India, from the Indian perspective, they are like they don't know about. They thought that this ritual can be found in anywhere in the world, haraobi. So like they also like surprised to hear that haraobi is only in this ritual is only performed only among the Japanese people and the Japanese society, and they are not not the significance of the rituals. They perform it like everywhere, like even in the internet, like it's quite common. Like during the 5th month, you should do Anzan Kikan ritual, and you should do the purification of Haraobi. And if you are okay, then you can put it tie it on the specific day. And after that, most of them, I tied it to keep my to support my pelvis, or to support my back, and to support my body and the balance and everything. When I asked them why did they prefer to tie that belt, I also would like to quote that. Just give me some time. Shime Suzuki. And most of them tied like Susan before the childbirth and the 8th month of pregnancy also. And like during 5th month of pregnancy, they tied, and it continued till the until the birth of a child. So they preferred onakaga okiko natte karo narana yoni. It's not becoming the big the size, to reduce the size of the belly. They also prefer to tie that belt also. In that way, they prefer also. And talk regarding the question of disposal of the Haraobi belt, actually when they received the Haraobi belt from the Shinto shrine or Buddhist temple, after the having the safe delivery, they usually visit the Shinto shrine either during the Omiya Mairi or Anzan no Orei Mairi. In that time, they return that Haraobi belt to the Shinto shrine or the Buddhist temple, also along with the Anzan no Umamori, Anzan no Ofuda, as well as the other things they receive from the Shinto or Buddhist temple. During that time, like Omiya Mairi or Anzan no Orei Mairi, that time they returned back to those things to the Shinto shrine or temple. Was my answer enough in that question regarding Sensei?
Yes, that was very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no.
I will actually ask Tariq, maybe he can give me your email address for a more conversation later.
No. Regarding the Satogairi Susan ritual, why does it still happen? It's because to get the help from the parents, the significant rituals, the Oyako Kanke, they want to make a good relationship with their parents. Like they believe that it is an opportunity where when they can make a good relationship with their parents. Like their mother also, for them, their mother is a sensei. Mother can teach them how to raise the child and what to do, what not to do, what to avoid. So in that way, they can learn from their mother as being a student. As being a student, they can learn from their mother, and they can also try to rely on their parents, so they can in a safe environment, in a physically and mentally, like in a state of mind, they can give birth a child, healthy. But the people who didn't return to Satogairi, when I asked them, because they wanted to stay with their husband, so they don't want to miss to stay away their husband. So, and also the Tachiai Susan, the husband's standing nearby during her childbirth, don't want to miss that opportunity. So they prefer to call their mother or mother-in-law in their house. So come and stay and help them to overcome child rearing and difficulties and everything, and get support from their mother or mother-in-law in that case. And how does the ritual the taboos regarding the Kegare Khan, they don't believe that Kegare Khan, they know Kegare Khan and the blood related, they don't know at all about the taboos and related. When I asked the same question to the Shinto priest and Buddhist temple, they told me, if you ask to the young generation, by young Japanese women, most of them, they don't know. They don't know that before the Meiji Restoration, before the Shinto shrine and the Buddhist temple and all separated in that religious in that way, so they don't know. But when I ask them only one or two people major, most of the I don't know, and I don't believe this kind of things. Why should I believe this kind of thing? I didn't hear in that way. In this way they answered me. So taboos are not there. They don't believe the taboos. They don't want to believe the like traditional taboos that imposed upon the Japanese pregnant women earlier days. When I asked them that they know some of the taboos, that they should eat this way, they should not do in that way. They don't know. They told me that they gathered most of the information either from the doctor or either from the information from the internet site. So they believe that the internet site and the maternity magazines are more reliable. They can follow other than following their mother and the nearby people. So they try to follow in that way. The taboos are not in that way, is not relevant in that the present society. Even the mythological perception of the Izanagi and Izanami. In case of the Atsuta shrine, Izanagi no Mikoto and Izanami no Mikoto, both are couple god are considered as the like they also gave birth lots of children in Japan. So in that way, the priest told me that the Japanese people, the Japanese worshipper, when they visit the particular Shinto shrine, and they not only get the blessings from the Izanagi no Mikoto and Izanami no Mikoto, they can also get the blessing from the Atsuta no Okami, the main deity that enshrined at Atsuta Jingo, and also the five other goddess, and also they can overcome the misfortune like Kusanagi no Tsurugi, the sword, the legendary sword is there in the Atsuta, kept in the Atsuta shrine. So in that way, they can overcome misfortune also during if they face any kind of misfortune or difficulties during their pregnancy. So not only the Izanagi and Izanami no Mikoto, and also the other gods are enshrined at Atsuta Jingo. So they come to Atsuta Jingo for that specific reason.
Thank you very
Was my
much.
answer?
This is very interesting. I'm sorry for taking
No.
the time here. I'm sure other people have questions, but thank you very much. This was extremely interesting for me.
Thank you so much, Anju.
Thank you. It was extremely interesting indeed, and thank you, Dr. Carmen, for the very valuable comment. I was personally interested in the idea of if anthropological study is about translating culture, then probably there will be a huge difference in the way you write about Japanese child birth rituals in the Japanese university and the way you present it to an international audience outside Japan, maybe in India. So there will be a huge difference in the way that you present it to Indian. And in that case, before the presentation started, I think Professor Anjana was asking here about the Bengali customs of Hathulghar and all that, which very interesting relations with the Khegare Khan that Sia was talking about. But let's open, although we are quite late, but let's open the session for question and answers. If you have a question, please unmute yourself and ask questions, please. Yes, Professor Anjana, please. We can't hear you.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Presentation, and I can sense how much of work it has gone in, and myself being a sociologist, I understand the significance of field work. And it is very interesting that you have taken up a topic related to childbirth, because we do have a lot of research on something which is just opposite of that, and that is failed pregnancy, that is about abortions, the Ojizo Sama. and the whole cult of Ojizo-sama. And like you have Helen Hardaker's book on the marketing the menacing fetus, which he talks about this whole culture of how abortions, when it became popular, and legalizing of abortion, and what was the impact on, and also the rituals surrounding that. So my question actually is also related to that. The shrines that you mentioned here, did they have anything to do with, I mean, since we're concerned with protecting a child, a safe childbirth, what if
Yes.
it's an abortion? So did they have delivery? I mean, any of this, or they were complete, or it is completely separate?
It is completely separate. These three Shinto shrines and one Buddhist temple, Koshoji, are only dedicated for the prayer for the safe delivery and also to bestow the child to the childless couple only.
Okay, so they don't address this issue of abortion or the Mizukuyo and all this thing.
Mizukukuyo, no.
No Mizukuyo is done. Okay, my second, if Tariq just let me, my second question is also
Yes,
about the survey that you did. You said you had around 116 respondents, if I'm correct.
116 respondents. Yes, those visited the Shiogama Shrine and Koshoji Temple during the auspicious day of Inunohi during their Anzan Kigan prayer.
Okay, so these are all women who had who were going through were pregnant, if I may presume.
Yes, and, like when they were waiting at the waiting room, give a specific waiting room for the prayer hall, nearby the prayer hall. So I got permission only from the Shiogama Shrine and Koshoji Temple to directly to do my interview survey to the Japanese pregnant woman, but I didn't get permission from the rest to like the Inu Shrine. And as well as the Atsuta Shrine, I didn't get permission to do field work and to ask question and survey question to the pregnant woman directly. But besides that, 747 Japanese young mothers who have already experienced childbirth, and I asked them several questions, who visited the Nagoya City Child Rearing Support Center.
Okay, so your survey was based on the questionnaire survey or whatever.
Yeah, questionnaires and interviews.
So interviews were conducted in those
And 61 no, interviews are conducted. Interviews I have conducted 3 shrines and 1 Buddhist temple to the priest, like face to face 1 hour when they gave me an appointment. In that way I have conducted. And in case of Japanese mother, I have conducted only interview survey. 61 people participated in that interview survey.
And that was in these 2 shrines?
No, that was like a Nagoya City Child Rearing Support Center.
For you when you give.
Once again, Sensei.
No, sorry. Nah, the places where you had gone to interview where these people, the young mothers or the pregnant women were coming for prayers, the shrines, the 2 shrines.
Yeah.
You could interview them at the time of the shrine?
Yes. At that time, in the morning, 8:30, I went there, and they were coming in a group, and they were waiting. I just approached and introduced myself that I am a student of Nagoya University, and please, I need your help. And also provided them pen and the questionnaire survey, and they also filled out. And some of them rejected. Told me that they don't want to cooperate in the survey. It's okay. I felt a little bit. Then I gradually realized that it's a part of my questionnaire survey. So somehow I managed to get 116 respondents through the questionnaire survey for directly from the Shiogama Shrine as well as Koshoji Temple.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei.
Hi, I have a question. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you Priya, for the presentation. Yeah, good to see you. So, can I? There's an echo going on. I'll try. So, here, possibly my question actually does not pertain to your thesis contents, because I was seeing the last slide and it's got something to do more with what Dr. Carmen pointed out. You know, that picture of that Izanami Jinja. So when I was, in fact, there was a seminar which Ranjana Sensei had organized a couple of years back at Delhi University on life and death. And there, I was talking more of the linguistic side of death. And Kegare is also like not only with, it's associated with a couple of things, for example, I don't know, blood, sweat, death. So if Izanami died in the process of childbirth, this is what even Dr. Carmen was trying to ask you, why is there a shrine dedicated to her? It just seemed very interesting because I've never seen myself. I've never seen, in fact, even Izanagi shrine, to be very honest. But this question was nagging me. Thank you.
If I can add something really quickly here, there are shrines dedicated to Izanagi. There is a very big one in Awajishima. It's Izanagi Jingu. It's not even a shrine, it's Jingu. So he is associated with life. It's more Izanami associated with death. So, and I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Jana Sensei, for your question. Am I audible? Yeah. Regarding the question, why Izanagi and Izanami? Because that like Kuni Umi in Japanese, it is known as the Kuni Umi no Fufugami. So this couple gods are believed, according to the priest. The priest told me that these two couple gods gave birth to lots of children, and in Japan, and the also invention of Japan. So in that way, from that perspective, the Japanese people try to believe that if they worship the soul of the couple god that is in the Kusunoki, so they can also get the blessings of the Izanagi and Izanami for having a safe delivery. But it is not, the Anzan Kigan prayer is not taking in that place, because it's not a shrine, it's a masha. So it's not a roof, only tree and two pillars are there. So main prayer that is taking at the Kagura then, and most of the people come to Atsuta Jengo only for mainly the Atsuta no Okami and the legendary sword related to the Kusanagi no Tsurugi. They believe that they can overcome, and like the sword has power to destroy the anything evil and good, and well, in that way, in that connection somehow. But when after the prayer is over at the Kagura, then they like the priest actually recommend them to visit in that specific like Nishimon in the western gate of the Atsuta Jingu. There is the Kusanami Maisha. There actually they don't know about the Kusanami Maisha before visiting the temple, visiting the Atsuta Jingu. But after visiting Atsuta Jingu, after having prayer, and the priest or receptionist, they recommend them to visit in that way, so that you can also receive in that like in that connection somehow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else, if you have any question, please unmute yourself and you can ask the question. Yes, Nishtha. Yes.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Actually, I wanted to, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yes, actually, I wanted to ask, like, you mentioned that there are so many particular temples or shrine where women go and pray for the birth of a healthy child. My question is, like, if the woman is not able to conceive a child, so there is any specific temple or shrine in Japan where they go and pray for the child of a birth?
Thank you for your question. Of course, there are lots of Shinto shrines and temples are there dedicated only to the couples can come and get the blessings and also offer the prayer for having for having a baby. Even also like Shiogama shrine, not only the Anzan Kigan, even the childless couple can come and pray to the specific Shinto shrine, so they can be blessed with a baby. And compared to Shiogama Shrine and other Shinto shrine in Nagoya city, Koshoji temple, mostly the old couples, like the middle-aged couples, usually come to the Koshoji temple to offer prayer to Daizui Gumyo in order to be blessed with a baby.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also to add to that, Nisha, I don't know if you were there when Dr. Carmen was speaking. She also talked about a shrine in Nagoya, which couples go for. Yes.
Tagata Jinja. Yeah.
You can, of course, we will upload the recording, so you can always listen to it again.
Yeah. Thank you. I will see that. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
If I may, I have a personal question. Yeah, have you done any research in Hyogo or anywhere in Kansai?
No, Sensei, I have not done any like yoga or Kansai, but I would like to do research at Osaka and Kyoto. Why Osaka and why
do so.
Kyoto? Because it's very similar culture can be found as compared to Nagoya. So like traditional values and traditional and the family bond are very strong. As if I compare to Tokyo, I don't have interest to do research at Tokyo, but I have interest at like doing research at Osaka or Kyoto next.
No, I'm actually coordinating a series on beliefs, ritual practices, and celebrations, but it's in Kansai. And Nagoya is not in Kansai, so I was really hoping you have done some research in Kansai.
I will do it later on.
Okay, maybe a later project.
Yes, later project.
My apologies, selfish question.
One of the major objectives of having this is to, get new networks and new connections and possibilities for the future. So we are very grateful if you. I will share your email addresses to both of you, and you can.
You may add me to the mailing list, and you can share my email address with anybody. It's not a secret.
Sure. Sure. Thanks a lot. Are there any more questions? If not, then I must really thank Dr. Carmen for accepting my request to be a discussion for this session, and it was really short notice, and even then Dr. Carmen agreed to join us for this discussion, and it was really a very interesting and fruitful discussion. I'm sure not only here but all of us benefited a lot from this discussion, and I hope that we will continue having this conversation, having this workshop series in the future, and I hope all of you will continue participating in it. And I'll just post the website address here in the chat, so that for those who are not part of the mailing list, you can just go to this link, and there are instructions about how to join the mailing list. You can also use some of the resources on the website. Although this website is really new and we are still building it, there is a calendar of scholarships and grants available for Japanese scholars, which might be useful for some scholars. And there are also a few resources other than that. There is also a database of Indian scholars of Japanese studies that we are trying to build. so that it is useful for us and as well as collaborators, possible potential collaborators from Japan. So please access the website and use it. I think we'll stop there for today. I really thank both Dr. Hiya Mukherjee and Dr. Salman for coming and joining this session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.